You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Naruto Enters Undertale? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. At this rate, Naruto trailed off, not wanting to accept what would happen. Suddenly they heard the sound of static and looked up to see something emerging from the TV, revealing to be all 6 of the human souls which floated to form an orbiting ring around the confused children. What's going on? Asked Frisk, looking at the souls floating above them. I don't know, Naruto responded, not knowing what's going on either. The souls began pulsing strongly in rhythm and their souls started to pulse in rhythm as well, then they proceeded to drop their respective green magic items onto Naruto, Frisk and Nikken, healing them of their wounds as well as fueling them with power as seen in Naruto's Bakken and Frisk's worn dagger glowing with white auras. The souls are helping us, said Frisk in awe. Yeah, no doubt that they also want Flowy to be stopped. Naruto gripped his Bakken tightly and rose to his feet with Frisk following suit and Nikken looked ready to go. Alright Frisk-chan, we'll use the same strategy like we did with Ascari. I'll prevent any attack from getting to you while you attack Flowy. Frisk nodded in affirmation and held up the glowing worn dagger. Okay Naruto. The souls faded away and soon Flowy appeared before them though quirking an eyebrow at their glowing weapons before scoffing. So you got one last trick up your sleeve, let's what good it will do for you, said Flowy madly. Frisk-chan. Nikken. Let's go. Naruto called out. Right/arf. The duo charged forward with Flowy firing the X bullets from his eyes but the projectiles were moving slowly compared to before. Naruto easily knocked them aside and gave Frisk the opportunity to lunge and slash Flowy across the lower face with the worn dagger. For the first time since the beginning of the battle, Flowy actually felt pain much to his confusion but shrugged it off for the moment and continued with his attack by deploying the flamethrowers. Naruto quickly regrouped with Frisk and Nikken as she conjured the red energy shield to defend them from the flames before they dissipated. Naruto dashed towards the flamethrowers and destroyed them in 2 swings of his Bakken then Frisk struck once more to inflict damage. Angrily, Flowy launched a barrage of bombs at Frisk but Naruto intercepted but scooping her into his arms and took evasive action against the bombs and explosive aftermath before coming back around. Get him! Naruto yelled out for Frisk to slash as he rushed by Flowy to land another hit on the monster. He skidded to a stop and placed Frisk on the ground before turning to face their opponent. A rather irritated flower grew a Venus flytrap from one of his cacti arms and was about to attack with it when there was a dark blur which tore it off, revealing to be Nikken holding the flytrap in his jaws before spitting it out and growling angrily. Okay, now you're making me mad, said Flowy angrily. Like we care. Naruto retorted. Flowy now grew multiple stems to fire his finger guns at the children to overwhelm with numbers but Naruto and Frisk worked together a dome of red energy to shield themselves against the attacks coming from all angles and maintained it still when he fired a barrage of X bullets at them till he stopped attacking, which was when Frisk rushed at Flowy and slashed strongly with her worn dagger, which appeared to be the deciding strike as the monster began to twitch and spasm with the TV head constantly glitching. No. This can't be happening. Flowy cried out in agony. Did we win? Asked Frisk anxiously. You. Naruto began to relax a bit. I think we dash. File 3 loaded. 1. Naruto looked up with dread gripping his heart as Flowy looked down at them with a smug look on his face, completely unscathed as if everything from before had never happened to begin with. You idiots. Before they could react, Flowy's second head shoots a large beam from its mouth which instantly shattered their souls into pieces and they collapsed to the ground unmoving. File 3 loaded. Naruto and Frisk were suddenly but hardly getting any chance to gather themselves when they were pierced by Floey's vines, shattering their souls yet again. File 3 loaded. They came back and were blasted once more. File 3 loaded. Revived then pierced. File 3 loaded. Blasted. File 3 loaded. Pierced. File 3 loaded. Blasted. File 3 loaded. Pierced. File 3 loaded. The children and wolf pup were constantly revived and killed till Floey had enough of his fun and brought them back while barely alive before surrounding them with his friendliness pellets. He. Did you really think you could defeat me? I am the god of this world. Floey declared arrogantly. He watched in amusement as Naruto crawled over to Frisk and Nick and then positioned himself in an attempt to protect them. Even now you still think you can face me? You're both hopeless. Hopeless and alone. Naruto glared in defiance, feeling a hand on his knee and turned to see Frisk looking at him weakly while Nicken yelped painfully. Golly, that's right. Your worthless friends can't save you now. Call for help, I dare you. Cry into the darkness. Mommy. Daddy. Somebody help. See what good it does you. Floey taunted arrogantly. Frisk called out weakly, somebody help us please. But nobody came. Floey sneered at them, boy. What a shame. Nobody else is gonna get to see you die. Floey cackled madly as the bullets closed in on their targets. Naruto threw himself upon Frisk and Nicken so as to shield them from the incoming projectiles with all of them bracing for their inevitable end. One of the bullets made contact and healed them completely whilst the others simply disappeared. What? How'd you? Floey appeared to be confused with what just happened and he wasn't the only one. Naruto and the others to rise to their feet before examining themselves to see that all of their wounds are completely gone. Well, he accessed his power and... Load failed. Where are my powers? Floey was now getting worried and a bit scared. What's going on? Asked Frisk. I don't know, but it's like something is stopping him from using the power of save and load, said Naruto with a small frown. No sooner he said that, there was a bright flash of light which dissipated to reveal the 6 human souls hovering around Floey and pulsing rather strongly, making the monster feel very nervous at how they seemed to no longer be under his control. The souls, what are they doing? The human souls began to spin around the nervous Floey and gradually increase in speed. He soon noticed that his powers were being drained from him much to his horror. Try as he might, he just couldn't stop the siphoning. No. You can't do that. You're supposed to obey me. Ignoring the monster's protests, the souls rather increased the rate at which they were extracting with the surroundings growing brighter by the minute. Stop it. Stop. Soon, it got too bright to the point that Naruto and the others had to cover their eyes to avoid being blinded. Cautiously opening their eyes, the children and wolf pup saw that they're still standing in the dark but the souls were nowhere to seen. However, they came upon Floey who had been forcefully reverted to his flower form albeit tattered all over with his back towards them. He heard them approach and spoke up, don't try to offer any mercy to me, killing me is the only way. Naruto and Frisk didn't say a word, Nicken stared at the flower intently. If you let me live, Floey turned to look at them with a crazed smile, I'll keep coming back to kill you and everyone you love. Naruto looked at the Bakken in his hand, tightening his grip on it, then he let out a sigh and put it away in the sheath. No, we won't kill you. Floey blinked in confusion at the answer. He's right, we won't kill you. Why? Why are you being so nice to me? Naruto explained, killing you doesn't have any kind of benefit, it won't bring Askari back, it won't free the monsters from the underground. He shook his head, killing is just pointless, I realized that a long time ago. Floey shook his head, I can't understand all this. It's not hard to understand, we're simply not the ones to decide who lives and why dies. Floey shook his head and looked like he's about to break down, I just can't understand. He sank into the ground and left them, never to return. Sigh, we were able to stop Floey but, said Naruto, but trailing off over what they had done. Ascari's dead, the souls are gone, monster have lost their king and soon their hope. All those promises we had made to Papyrus and the others, said Naruto sadly. But why? We did the right thing, we didn't kill anyone, so why did this happen? It's just not fair, said Frisk. Whine, Nicken's ears drooped down and his tail laid slacked on the ground. Where could we have gone wrong? Was there something we had missed? Just what was it? Are we ever going to see Toriel and the others again? Naruto frowned in response, I don't really know, but I refuse to accept how this all ends for everyone. Frisk looked at Naruto confusedly, what do you mean by that? Ever since I learned what it meant to wield it, I decided to avoid relying on it so as to stop myself from becoming overdependent. But now, I'm going to have to use it, the power of save and load, said Naruto with his left eye glowing faintly. But I thought you can't use it anymore since Floey took it and erased our save file. I thought so too, but then I noticed something when we were facing him. Floey could use that power because he had absorbed the 6 human souls, which made him far stronger than us, but now that he doesn't have them anymore, Naruto held out a hand in front of him, causing a black dialogue box appeared before them with the options. Load reset. I can use it again. But what about our save file? Asked Frisk. Floey didn't erase it, or rather he couldn't. He had always been saving on either file 2 or file 3 but never on file 1, which must be ours, Naruto explained. Frisk's eyes widened in realization, then that means. Yeah, we can go back and find a way to prevent something like this from happening again. But how? I don't really know, maybe we can find the answers from the monster themselves like Alphys. She might even have a clue about this power of ours, Naruto gestured to his glowing left eye. Okay Naruto, let's go. Roger that, Naruto pressed a hand on the load button, causing the area to light up in a bright flash of light, and the sound of a chain breaking was also heard echoing throughout the void. Naruto along with Frisk and Nicken opened their eyes to find themselves at the save point next to the entrance leading to where the barrier and Ascari are waiting ahead of them, but this time, the trio aren't heading there just yet. We made it back, I hope we don't have to use it again. 1 is already enough for me honestly, said Naruto with a frown. So, we'll be going to talk to Alphys? Asked Frisk. Yeah, she's likely to know or at least figure out a way to bring down the barrier without having to sacrifice any life, either human or monster. Frisk nodded in affirmation. Okay, let's head for Hotland since that's where Alphys would be, Nicken barked in agreement. The group left the place and doubled back to the core where they came across an elevator which they used to get to the bottom, and it had dropped them right at the entrance of the core. They were going across the wooden bridge towards the MTT resort when Frisk's phone began to ring, so she answered it. Hello? Asked Frisk. Hey. This is Undyne. Undyne, how did you get this number? Asked Frisk confusedly. Actually, I'm using Papyrus' phone to call ya. I need you to deliver something for me. What is it? Asked Naruto. I can't really say it on the phone. So, could you come over? I'm over at Papyrus in Snowed In, so you better get over here quick. Please? Okay Undyne, we'll be there as soon as possible. Sweet, don't keep me waiting. Said Undyne before ending the call. So, we'll be going to Snowed In first? Asked Frisk. Naruto shrugged in response, pretty much yeah, we can go to Alphys afterwards. Okay. The group resumed their trek, albeit with a different destination in mind, as they went through the MTT resort to go through the main path of Hotland, using the elevator to descend to the first floor. They continued southwards until reaching the river person who was beached at the riverbank. Tra-la-la, would you care for a ride? Asked the river person. Yes please, said Frisk. Where will we be going to? Can you take us to Snowed In? Asked Naruto. Indeed, climb aboard, and we shall be off. Naruto and Ko got on the boat before the river person proceeded to steer them through the river, all the while making rather odd commentaries and statements which mostly confuses the children and Wolf Pup until they finally arrived at their destination and disembarked. They resumed going south past the wolf monster who was still throwing ice into the river, but at least they know where it ends up at. As they neared the house, Frisk called out to Naruto, "There's Undyne and Papyrus over there." Sure enough, the aforementioned two were indeed standing at the front of Papyrus' house as Naruto and Frisk approached. "Ah, my two human friends and not annoying dog have arrived," said Papyrus happily. "Took you BRTS long enough to show up." Undyne scoffed but was grinning nonetheless. "So, what was it that you wanted us to deliver?" asked Naruto. "I want you to deliver to, Dr. Alphys," said Undyne with a tinge of pink on her cheeks. "But, can't you deliver it to her yourself?" asked Frisk confusedly. "Why?" Well, Undyne fidgeted nervously, looking away from the children. It's kind of personal, but we're friends, so I'll tell you Hotland sucks and I don't want to have to go over there." "I guess you have a pint there," said Naruto, recalling what happened to Undyne when she was chasing him and Frisk then passed out from the heat and dehydration because of her being a fish-type monster. "Here's the letter." Undyne held out a white envelope to him. "If you dare open to read it, I'll kill you." Naruto sweated nervously. "Oh, of course I won't, let's go, Frisk-chan." Papyrus spoke up, "Actually, we would like for our female human friend to remain behind." "Why?" asked Frisk curiously. "We could use a bit help from you while you're here with us," said Undyne rather vaguely. Naruto hummed in thought for a moment. "In that case, Nikken can stay with you while I go and deliver the letter to Alphys before coming back." "Okay Naruto, see you later then," said Frisk with Nikken sitting next, albeit reluctantly, as the wolf pup really wanted to follow Naruto. Naruto set off with the letter as he hitched a ride with the river person back to Hotland, but he left for the lab with the river person giving him a rather strange message which had him feeling a bit tense and uncomfortable. "Beware of the man who speaks with his hands." I wonder what he meant by that. "I hope it doesn't turn out to be another problem since we already have one to deal with right now," said Naruto with a small frown. He soon arrived at the lab and came across a problem. The door has no mail slot. He pondered over what to do next before glancing downwards and seeing there's a gap between the door and floor which is enough for him to slide the letter through. "Guess I should slide it through there since the door won't open," said Naruto. He slid the letter under the door and knocked on it before waiting for a response. A few minutes passed and Naruto thought Alphys wasn't home when he heard faint footsteps approaching. "Oh and no, is that another letter?" I don't want to open it, can't I just slide it back," said Alphys. Naruto frowned upon hearing this. It sounds like Alphys has been receiving letters and yet never opens them to read. He remained silent and continued to listen. "And no, I can't keep doing this. I'll read this one," said Alphys. It's kind of tightly shut, isn't it?" "Wait a second." Suddenly the doors opened up with Alphys looking rather down. "Hey, if this is a joke, it's..." She looked up to see Naruto and gasped in shock. "Oh my god, did you write this letter?" Naruto blinked in confusion. "Huh. It wasn't signed, so I had no idea. Who could have? I had no idea you wrote that way." "It's really adorable," said Alphys giddily, "and I'm surprised that you did so after all the gross things I did. I get the feeling that there's a big misunderstanding. Alphys thinks that I wrote this letter since Undyne didn't sign it with her name," thought Naruto with a sweat drop. "You know what? I'll do it. It's the least I can do to make it up to you." "Why yeah, let's go on a date." Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Just what did Undyne write in that letter?" He hardly had a chance to speak when Alphys ran back inside the lab. A few minutes later, she returned while wearing a polka dot dress instead of her usual lab coat. "I'm back, so how I look?" "A friend of mine picked it out for me," asked Alphys shyly. Naruto rubbed the back of his head nervously. It looks really good on you." "Oh, thank you. How about we get this date started?" "Actually Alphys, Hold on, I've gotta give you items to raise your affection statistics first in order to increase the chances of a good outcome in a date." "Not to worry, I came prepared with just the things: metal armor polish, waterproof cream for your scales, and magical spear repair kit that I ordered some time ago," said Alphys. "Alphys, I can't use any of those things," Naruto pointed out. "Those are more suited for Undyne." Oops, I should have realized that myself. Let's just get on with the date then, said Alphys. So, do you like anime? Actually I do, along with manga and video games. Just not too indulgent in them, said Naruto with a shrug. Oh, then have you watched Mew Mew Kissy Cutie? Asked Alphys hopefully. Not really, but I've seen snippets of its episodes whenever I'm on the internet, said Naruto. Then maybe we could it together sometime. Sure, I don't mind, said Naruto, in spite of needing to tell her that all this is a misunderstanding. Do we have anywhere to go? Actually I know a good place for a date, the garbage dump, said Alphys giddily. Naruto quirked an eyebrow at that, the garbage dump. Yeah, let's go there. Alphys eagerly walked ahead with Naruto following her from behind as they left Hotland to Waterfall until they arrived at their destination being the garbage dump. Here we are. Undyne and I come here a lot to find a lot of good stuff which we would use. I see, said Naruto. He glanced to the side and spotted something or rather someone in the distance. Wait, isn't that Undyne over there? Alphys looked and her eyes widened upon confirming that it's really her. Oh no, I can let her see me on a date with you. I mean here she comes. She quickly went to hide behind a trash can right before Undyne arrived. A closer look reveals that Undyne having dressed differently compared to her armor and everyday clothing. She's currently wearing a white turtleneck under a black leather jacket, a scarf around her neck, black pants, a light-colored eye patch. She even applied lipstick and let some of her hair down. Oh there you are. I just realized that giving you that letter to deliver to Alphys is a bad idea, said Undyne. A bit too late for that, thought Naruto. So, I'll be the one to deliver it. Now hand it over. So, Undyne, but I already gave it to Alphys, said Naruto apologetically for several things. You already gave it to her? Nga. In that case, have you seen her? Naruto glanced at the trash can to see Alphys shaking behind it before turning to Undyne. Yeah I did, I saw her over there. He pointed at a random direction. So she's nearby. Undyne nodded in response. Thanks, I'll go and look for her. She took off without another word. You can come out now, the coast is clear, said Naruto after making sure that Undyne was out of sight. Alphys emerged from behind the trash can with a sheepish look on her face. Well, it's pretty obvious at this point. I really like Undyne, I mean M more than a friend. Yeah, there were some clues along the way that gave me the idea, said Naruto, thinking back on the things that he and Frisk noticed during their time with Alphys and Undyne. Sorry, I thought it would be fun if we went on a kind of cute pretend date. Just to make you feel better, said Alphys hesitantly. Naruto rubbed the back of his head at this, and here I was thinking that I created a misunderstanding. I'm sorry, I messed up again. Alphys looked down in depression. Undyne is really the one I wanted to go on a date with, but she's way out of my league. What makes you say that? She's always so confident, strong and funny too. But I'm just a nobody. Come on, that can't be true. Frisk and I have seen you do cool things and even created someone like Mettaton, Naruto protested. And yet all I've ever done is hurt people. I've told Undyne so many lies that she thinks that I'm way cooler than I actually am. I'm scared of what might happen if she gets too close to me and finds out the truth. I don't know what to do. You should tell her the truth then with your own mouth, said Naruto. Alphys took a step back in shock at his words. Tell her the truth. But she'll hate me. Wouldn't it be better to live a lie where both people are happy instead of a truth where neither are? Naruto shook his head at that. It wouldn't at all. You're rather giving me the impression that you don't fully trust Undyne and not ready to commit to her. It's better that you tell her on your own than someone else telling her or she finding out on her own. That's guaranteed for her to lost her trust in you. But I don't have the confidence to tell her. I'm scared and I don't know how. Naruto hummed in thought for about a minute before coming up with an idea. How about we do a roleplay where I'll pretend to be Undyne so you can practice on how to tell the truth to her. Actually that sounds kind of fun, just like that scene in episode 15 of Mew Mew Kissy Cutie, said Alphys, getting a little excited at it. Alright then, let's get started, said Naruto. Alright, hello Undyne, how are you? I'm doing great, Naruto in a gruff voice, trying to match the way the real Undyne speaks. Oh gee, glad to hear that. Alfie stuttered, so, there's something I want to tell you. Then Undyne kisses you, said Naruto. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the scene goes in that anime I watched, though the guy got slapped in the end. What? Undyne would never. Alfie paused in thought before speaking. Then I kiss her back softly and look into her eyes and I start hollering. Naruto was taken aback, Alfie? But the scientist wasn't really listening. Undyne. I love you. Kiss me again. Alfie, calm down or Undyne might dash. What's going on here? Everyone froze at the voice, then turned to see Undyne looking at them in confusion of what's going on and wanting to get to the bottom of things. You Undyne. I was just, Alfie was caught completely off guard by her sudden appearance. Hold on, that's a pretty cute dress you have on. So, what's the occasion? Undyne looked between Naruto and Alfie with a frown slowly forming on her face. Are you two on a date? Naruto shook his head. No, not at all. It's a pretend date. A pretend date? Alfie nodded shakily in agreement. Why yeah, we were doing a romantic roleplay about you. What? Said Undyne in shock. I mean, Alfie took in a deep breath before speaking calmly. Undyne, I've been lying to you. About what? About everything. When I said seaweed is scientifically important, I was actually using them to make ice cream. All those human history books I've been reading were really dorky comic books. The history movies were really anime. With each sentence, Alfie approached Undyne till she was standing right before her, and Alfie. I just wanted to impress you, to have you think I was smart and cool instead of a dorky nerd. Alfie was snapped out of her worry when Undyne began petting her head before crouching down to hug her. Naruto smiled inwardly. Guess things are turning out okay. Alfie, Undyne muttered softly, before carrying Alfie in her arms and tossing the scientist into the trash can. Huh? Undyne? Asked Naruto in confusion. Alfie, I think you're neat too, I guess. Undyne rubbed the back of her head sheepishly, but you gotta realize that most of what you said doesn't really matter to me. To be honest, watching kid cartoons and comics to me is nothing but nerdy crp. What I really like about you is how passionate you are about them. Being so analytical. You actually care about them, 100% and at maximum power. I kinda forgot that Undyne is a very passionate person. I recall Uncle Kakashi talking about someone in his team who's all about youth and hard work, but the dude wears green spandex for some weird reason, thought Naruto. So, you don't have to lie to me or anyone else. Alfie poked her head out from the trash can with eyes of hope. Really? That's right, I want you to become happy with who you are, and I know the training to do just that. You mean you'll train me? Undyne scoffed in response. Not me. Someone jumped out from behind a trash heap to amongst them, revealing who it is. Papyrus? Asked Naruto in confusion. The skeleton was currently dressed in armor which appears to be sports-themed and recalled Frisk telling him that Papyrus wore something like this during their playdate. That's right, Papyrus will be the one to train you, said Undyne as a matter of factly. That's right, the great Papyrus shall aid in your training to become the best you. Let's get those bones shaking as we run 100 laps while yelling how great we are, said Papyrus with enthusiasm. Undyne, I'll do my best. Alfie got out of the trash can and left with Papyrus. Undyne suddenly let out a breath which she didn't know she was holding. Oh my god. She was kidding, right? All those cartoons and comics are real, right? She looked at Naruto in desperation. I can't lie to you, Undyne, I'm afraid they aren't real, but they were inspired by real activities, said Naruto. Like which ones? I gotta know, said Undyne. Hold on. I got something. Naruto reached into his waist pack and brought out his iPhone. I got a couple of videos here to show you. Undyne rushed over to see Naruto play several videos depicting sports, like boxing, extreme sports, stunts, even a couple of like a boss clips which he downloaded from YouTube. This seemed to have calmed her down and rather excited her instead. As I thought, you humans can be amazing and terrifying at the same time. Thanks for telling me the truth and revealing this to me. I feel like I can do my utmost best for Alphys, said Undyne thoughtfully. Naruto smiled in response, I'm very happy to hear. Well, this date turned out unexpected but I'm cool with it all the same. I'll see you later with the other human. She took off while bidding the blonde farewell. Guess I should head back to Snowed Inn and meet up with Frisk and Nikken, said Naruto. He proceeded to make his way out of the garbage dump and was just about reaching the exit when his phone began and he answered it to find out who's calling him. Hello. Howdy, it is the great Papyrus, a friend whom you trust. Said Papyrus. Hey Papyrus, what's up? Well, Alphys and I finished our training earlier than planned so I sent her home very home. Okay. Well, for some strange reason. I feel that you should go to her lab house. I have good feelings about this and I've already sent my other human friend and not annoying dog to wait for you with the river person. I see, then I'll be heading there. Great, goodbye for now. Naruto ended the call with a small frown on his face. For Papyrus to tell them to go to Alphys' lab can't be a mere coincidence, it's likely that there's something else going on and they're soon going to find out. He left the garbage dump and headed over to the river person where Frisk and Nikken were waiting for him. Hi Naruto, how did everything go? Asked Frisk. Unexpected, but things turned out for the better, said Naruto, getting on board the boat. Where are we off to today? Asked the river person. Could you take us to Hotland? Frisk requested politely. Tra-la-la, we're off. The river person proceeded to transport the children and wolf pup through the river channel with the latter two contemplating on the reason why Papyrus was being so insistent on they going to speak with Alphys until arriving at their destination. Thanks for the ride, said Naruto gratefully. Tra-la-la, beware of the man from the other world, said the river person, sailing away before Naruto could question him further. Just what is he going on about? Asked Naruto. I don't know either, said Frisk. The group went on their way and entered the lab, but oddly enough Alphys was nowhere to be seen. Alphys, where are you? Naruto called out but there was no response. But I thought Papyrus said that Alphys went home, said Frisk with concern. That's what he said. Bark, bark, bark. Nikken began barking, drawing their attention to the wolf pup. Nikken, what's the matter? Asked Naruto before seeing Nikken sniffing at a piece of paper on the floor. It looks like a note, from Alphys. What does it say? Asked Frisk. The handwriting is kinda hard to make out but I'll try. Naruto began to read the note. Thanks for your help back there. You guys, your support really means a lot to me, but as difficult as it is to say this, you guys alone cannot magically make my problems go away. I want to be a better person, I don't want to be afraid anymore. And for that to happen, I have to face my own mistakes, starting from now. I need to be clear that this isn't anyone's problem but mine, but if you don't ever hear from me again if you want to know the truth. Enter the door to the north of this note, you all at least deserve to know what I did. Just did Alphys do that she feels so guilty about? Asked Frisk. I don't know but, Naruto turned towards the open door to their left, she said that we would find the truth behind that door. I'm a little scared, said Frisk worriedly. Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder, calming her down, I'm sure we'll be okay, don't worry about it. Frisk nodded softly, feeling a bit better, oh okay. They went through the door to find themselves inside an elevator. Naruto went on to press a button to transport them down to the bottom floor. Things were going smoothly when the elevator jerked for a moment, then proceeded to descend at an alarming rate with red lights flashing and alerts blaring all around them. Warning! Warning! Elevator losing power. Tether stability lost. Altitude dropping. Frisk, hold on to me. Naruto immediately wrapped his arms around with the brunette hugging him in fear while Nikken hopped in between them, whining in fright. They awaited what would happen as everywhere went black with the rumbling ongoing until things went silent and still, then the elevator doors opened up much to their confusion. Its official elevators are one of the most terrifying things in my life, said Naruto, his heart thumping against his chest. Frisk nodded shakily, me too. They stepped out of the elevator to find themselves in a slightly dark area with barely lit lights to illuminate the way for them to go through. "I wonder where we are," said Frisk thoughtfully. "Something tells me that we're far beneath the lab. This could be the real lab since it's so well hidden. Let's go see what kind of secret that this place is hiding, but keep an eye out for Alphys," said Naruto, receiving a nod from Frisk and a bark from Nikken. The group began their exploration of the place and took note of the monitors built into the walls, which appears to be displaying research logs. Research log number 1 to number 5 spoke of how Alphys was requested by Askari to find a way to break through the barrier. She discovered that the power of the soul cannot be artificially created. She couldn't extract the power from a monster soul as it would disappear moments after death, but a human soul is different, even identifying this power to last even after death and capable of defying fate as determination. They went on to the next and finding a double door being locked up, so they took the left hallway to learn more about the place. They found more research logs with number 6 and number 9 speaking of Askari giving the comatose bodies of the monsters who had fallen down, and she thought of injecting determination in an attempt to revive, but she was also getting nervous from the monsters questioning what was going on. Naruto and Frisk went into a room where there was an empty key slot and a scrap of paper with a clue written, "Drain dropped it." They went to check on the sinks in the previous room where they were suddenly attacked by some strange white monster which doesn't seem to have a fixed shape. They managed to make it lose interest in them and fade away, leaving behind a red key. Frisk took the key and went to insert it into the slot. They doubled back to the main room to see that one part of the double door was glowing and figured that they need to find the remaining keys to open. Then they went on through the right hallway. Reading research log number 12 to number 14, the monsters weren't waking up at first after being injected with determination but later awoke and acted like nothing happened. Nikken sniffed out a yellow key from one of the beds for Frisk to attach to her phone's keychain. There was research log number 7 and number 10 which spoke of Alphys theorizing that humans and monsters might not make good vessels to contain great power, but a vessel that is neither human nor monster could be a much more suitable choice. The group were attacked by another one of those deformed white monsters when going through a hall of several mirrors but were able to send it away as well. They found the next key slot but noted that the yellow key doesn't fit in. They found another scrap of paper which read, "Cold." The group headed back to the room where the yellow key was found and went through the northern doorway. Research log number 15 explained Alphys viewing the project as a dead end and planning to send the revived monsters back to their families. Research log number 11 spoke of the scientist's fear of Mettaton no longer wanting to be friends with her once she had completed the building of his body. The children and Wolf Pup found themselves in a room which had a lot of fans, but the place was rather foggy and cold with white particles floating in the air. Naruto found a SWCH which activated the fans to clear the fog, but the white particles actually formed together to become another one of those white deformed monsters. For some strange reason, this particular monster was acting in ways similar to that of the K9 unit in Snowed In when they played catch and petted enough to leave happily. "The way these white monsters are acting reminds me of the ones we met along the way," said Frisk thoughtfully. "I thought so too, but I can't exactly figure why," said Naruto with a small frown. They continued on their way. Thing got a bit scary when they entered a particular room and saw something creepily moving about behind a shower curtain. Naruto cautiously approached with Bakken in hand before pulling away the curtain only to find nothing there save for a green key for Frisk to attach to her phone's keychain. The next room that they entered had a machine which resembles too much like the form Flowey took on when he absorbed the souls, albeit more mechanical in structure and design. Apparently Alphys dubbed it the DT extraction machine, which is meant for obtaining determination from souls. There was a door next to the machine which led to a smaller room where there's a TV with a VHS along with shelves of tapes, and a yellow key slot. The entry spoke of Alphys having found these tapes during her research. She suspects that Askari never watched these and believes that he shouldn't even do so. "Why would Alphys prefer that Askari doesn't watch these tapes?" asked Naruto. "Maybe she saw something which would hurt him." "I remember that he really misses his family," said Frisk, remembering how sad Askari was when he spoke about them. "This might be part of the truth that Alphys was talking. I think we should watch these tapes," said Naruto, taking one of the tapes and inserting it into the VHS player. first thing that they noted was the tapes had no visual content but the audio was playing nonetheless. The first 3 tapes depicted the good times the Dreamer family spent together along with their adopted human whose name is Chara. But then, things started getting rather odd from the 4th tape onwards as they listened. I don't like this idea, Chara. What? And no, I'm not big kids don't cry. Yeah, you're right. No. I'd never doubt you, Chara. Never. Why yeah. We'll be strong. We'll free everyone. I'll go get the flowers. Toriel Chara, can you hear me? We want you to wake up. Askari Chara. You have to stay determined. You can't give up. You are the future of humans and monsters. Asriel Chara, please wake up, I don't like this plan anymore. I know, I said I'd never doubt you. 6, right? We just have to get 6 and we'll do it together, right? Naruto frowned as the final tape ended. Something doesn't seem to make sense here. What we heard from the monsters on our way to Askari differs from what we're listening from these tapes. They said that the human child suddenly became ill and requested to see the flowers at their home village before dying. Then Asriel absorbed the soul in order to cross the barrier and carry the body there, which led to him getting killed by the humans. But these tapes are rather telling us that they purposely poisoned themselves by eating buttercups then dying so Asriel can absorb their soul, said Frisk. Asriel spoke of getting 6, I'm guessing he's talking about getting 6 human souls to break the barrier. But then, why didn't he do so but chose to return with the body instead? We're still missing some pieces for this puzzle. Maybe we'll learn more when we go in further, Frisk suggested. Naruto shrugged in response, sounds about the only option we have. After inserting the yellow key into the designated key slot before leaving the room, Naruto and the others resumed their exploration through the secret lab. They had to fend off more of these white monsters, with one of them dropping a blue key before disappearing. The research logs number 19, number 20, and number 21 spoke of Alphys no longer answering her phone and Askari calling about the monsters getting angry due to receiving no news concerning their family members, and she started going to the garbage dump to cope with things since then. I don't understand, I thought she said that the monsters were revived and going to be sent back to their families. So why this reaction? Asked Frisk. Maybe the injection of determination had some sort of side effect on them, that might be it, said Naruto. I hope we'll be leaving soon, this place is really scaring me, said Frisk, staying close to the blonde. Same here, I keep feeling like something is watching us from a distance. Please stop saying those things, I don't like scary stuff at all, Frisk tugged Naruto's sleeve anxiously. Sorry Frisk-chan. With the 2 remaining keys in hand, the trio went back and forth to insert the keys in their designated spot before returning to the now unlocked double door and going through it to find themselves in an elevator, but there was another pathway besides the one which they came through leading elsewhere for them to go through. They went past some blank screens which were inactive due to lack of power before finding themselves in what appears to be a power room of sorts. Naruto went on to flip the SWCH and the power began to run through the rest of the lab. Guess it means that elevator from before will also start working. Frisk noticed Nikken growling and turned to see what the wolf pup was growling before tugging on Naruto's hoodie. Naruto? Those white monsters from before are back. Naruto looked back to see said monsters approaching them before her stood before Frisk and Nikken with Bakken in hand. Geez, why now of all times? The monsters continued to approach with them becoming ever more tense until a voice called out. Hey! Stop! They looked to see Alphys running up to them with a frown. I got you guys some food, okay? The monsters obediently left the room, leaving the scientist with the children. Sorry about that, they get kind of sassy when they don't get fed on time. We noticed, Naruto deadpanned. Anyways, the power went out and I was trying to turn it back on. But you guys kinda beat me to the punch. I see, so was the note from before having to do with these monsters? Asked Naruto. Alphys shook her head in response. That's not what I meant where I said that I might not come back, but because I was scared of running away or doing something cowardly. But then, what are those monsters? Asked Frisk. Alphys appeared reluctant at first but steeled herself and spoke. As you two probably know by now, Ascari had asked me to study the nature of souls, during which I isolated a power called determination and injected it into the comatose monsters. It worked at first and revived them, but I soon came to discover that monsters do not have sufficient physical matter to take in such concentrations, unlike humans. The end result was the monsters losing their physical forms and melting, with all of them fusing into those white monsters from before. So that explains, I noticed that some of the white monsters acted in ways similar to the monsters we met during our time here, said Naruto thoughtfully. They must be related, Frisk added, with Naruto nodded in agreement. Upon seeing them like that, I knew that I couldn't tell their families what happened and chose to keep them hidden away so that no one would find out about my failure, said Alphys sadly before speaking once more, but that's going to change. I'm going to tell everyone the truth. It's going to be hard for me, but at least I can do it while knowing that I have friends that care about me and accept me for who I am. Naruto smiled and nodded in response. That's right, we'll always be friends no matter what. He's right, we really like you, Alphys. The same goes for the other monsters too, said Frisk eagerly. Alphys smiled tearfully, barely holding back the happiness in her. Undyne's as well as their acceptance of her tells her that she's truly deserving of happiness despite her past mistakes. Thank you. She looked back to see that the white monsters have returned after eating their food. Come on guys, it's time for you to go home. She left the room with the monsters following her. Guess that's that, but there are still some questions we haven't gotten answers yet, said Naruto. I don't think there's any more to do here, so let's go and ask Alphys about the barrier, said Frisk. They exited the room and came upon the formerly blank screens, which are now displaying the research logs with interesting information. Entry number 8. I've chosen a candidate. I haven't told Ascari yet, because I want to surprise him with it. In the center of his garden, there's something special. The first golden flower, that grew before all the others. The flower from the outside world. It appeared just before the queen left. I wonder what happens when something without a soul gains the will to live. Entry number 18. The flower's gone. A golden flower, could it be? Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts as Frisk's phone started ringing when they entered the elevator. Frisk answered the phone. Hello, who is it? Chara, are you there? A male voice which neither of them had ever heard spoke through the phone. Who is this? Asked Frisk warily. It has been a long time, but you've done well. Everything has fallen into place. You haven't answered our question. Who are you? Naruto demanded with a deep frown. See you soon, Chara said the voice before ending the call. Suddenly the doors closed up much to their surprise and the elevator began to rise upwards with great velocity, causing the children to hold on to each other and try not to lose their balance. Oh, not again. Naruto yelled out as they ascended towards who knows where. Upon reaching the top floor of the elevator, Naruto along with Frisk and Nikken exited from it. To find themselves in a familiar area, it appears that they're back in new home. Naruto looked behind him to see that the elevator doors by thick green vines, which got him to frown in suspicion about how it came to be so, but he was snapped out of his thoughts when Frisk called out to him. What happens now? Asked Frisk curiously. Naruto hummed in thought, trying to come up with the best options, but is stuck on one which he's rather reluctant on choosing. I've got one. As much as I don't like it, we'll go and confront Ascari again, but this time, we'll make sure that Floey doesn't try to launch any sneak attacks to kill him. Are you sure? I really don't want to fight him. Whine. Nikken was in agreement with Frisk, having come to like the kind-hearted king. Naruto sighed in understanding. I feel the same way, but I don't know what else we can do besides hoping for a miracle of sorts. Me too, let's go. The group proceeded to make their way back to the throne room and into the area where the barrier barred the way to the outside world, with Ascari waiting ever patiently for them to return for what needs to be done. Oh, you're back so soon. Then it means that you're ready, said Ascari. Ascari, you need to listen, Frisk tried to explain but was ignored. Humans, it was nice to meet you, goodbye. The king of monsters lowered his head and was about to bring out his trident. Do we really have to fight again? Once is already enough for me, Naruto groaned. The blonde reached for his Bakken with Frisk reluctantly reaching for the worn dagger when something shot past them and slammed into Ascari, revealing to be a fireball which knocked the surprised king down to the ground. That attack, isn't it? Naruto blinked in realization as a very familiar voice spoke up from behind them. What a miserable creature, torturing such poor innocent youth. Toriel Obasan. Naruto and Frisk exclaimed as they turned toward said person who approached them with a soft smile. It is good to see that you're both safe, said Toriel. What brought you all the way out here? Asked Frisk in mild confusion. In the beginning, I intended to let you make your journey on your own, but I couldn't stop worrying about you too. Especially when it will leave you both to make a painful choice. To leave this place meant to take the life of another person, you would have to defeat Ascari. Yeah, we know that too well, thought Naruto, considering that they had already gone through that already. That was when I realized that I could not let that happen and came to prevent it, Toriel explained. As terrible as Ascari is, he too deserves mercy. Tori, you came back, said Ascari in shock and a bit of happiness, but he flinched when she scowled at him. Don't Tori me, Dremer. If you really wanted to save our kind, you could have gone through the barrier after taking one human soul, then returned to shatter it after taking the remaining 6 souls from the outside. But you rather chose to let everyone live in despair whilst meekly hoping that another human doesn't appear, Toriel scolded. Naruto frowned at this, finding familiarity in her statement, and realized as that was exactly what Asriel and Chara did, which led to them getting killed by the humans. Even so, he was seeing a lot of flaws in her plan as well. The chances of Ascari meeting the same fate are very high, as it would be one monster against the human race, he would have been captured by them or worse. You're right, I'm a miserable creature who is too cowardly to do what was needed of him. Is there any chance that we could at least be friends again? Asked Ascari pleadingly. No Ascari, said Toriel, making the king bow his head in sadness. Okay, that's going too far, Naruto muttered lowly. She doesn't have to be so HRD on him, said Frisk sadly, seeing how hurt Ascari is. Suddenly, someone came rushing in, much to everyone's surprise. Ascari. Humans. Nobody fight each other but become friends or I'm gonna. It turns to be Undyne who showed up to stop the supposed fight. That was until she saw the people around her. Undyne, you're too, said Naruto. Oh hello, are you their friend as well? It's nice to meet you, said Toriel politely. Yeah, nice to meet you too. Undyne went over to Ascari and whispered to him, Hey Ascari, is that your ex? The king could only nod silently. Whoa man, that's pretty rough. Hey, nobody heard each other. The next person to show up was Alphys, who gulped nervously upon seeing the crowd, especially Toriel and Undyne. Toriel smiled in greeting. Oh hello, you must be Naruto and Frisk's friend as well. I'm Toriel. Hi. Alphys responded nervously before moving to stand next to Undyne. Soon enough, another made an appearance, and it was Papyrus this time. Hey. Nobody fight anyone. Otherwise I'll ask Undyne for help. Papyrus, Undyne is over there. Frisk pointed at said person for the skeleton to see. Oh well, that just makes things much easier. Papyrus declared confidently, much to their amusement. Hey everyone, how's it going? At this point, it's no surprise that Sans showed up. That voice, Toriel quickly approached Sans. Hello, I believe we have met before. I believe we did, said Sans. As they introduced themselves properly to each other, another person showed in a haste. King Ascari, please don't fight the humans. They aren't bad like I thought. Red? What are you doing here? I thought I told you to be on patrol, said Undyne angrily. I'm sorry Lady Undyne, but I couldn't bear the thought of the humans and King Ascari fighting each other. So, I had to come and stop them from fighting, Red explained. Undyne grumbled, and here I was trying to prevent you three from meeting each other, but at least you're friends from what I'm seeing, so I guess it's okay in the end. Why were you trying to keep her away from them? Asked Alphys. Red had a bad thing about humans and hated them. so I gave her a mission to patrol an area where she wouldn't bump into them. Guess it didn't turn out the way I wanted, Undyne explained. Well, Alphys looked at Naruto introducing Red to Frisk, who seemed to clench one of Naruto's arms and tugging him away with puffed up cheeks, and Red looked a bit put off by her actions. At least she doesn't hate them. Toriel giggled at the sight of the children and monster interacting with each other, he. My children, it seems as if you must stay here for a while. But looking at all the great friends you have made, I think you will be happy here. Naruto smiled in response. I guess we will, at least could find a way to contact the outside while we're here. Hey, that reminds me. Papyrus, you were the one who called everyone here, right? Well, besides, Alphys glanced at Toriel, still looking at the children fondly. Anyway, if I got here before you, how did you know how to call everybody? Papyrus hummed in response. Let's just say a tiny flower helped me. A chill ran down the spines of Naruto, Frisk and Alphys as they turned towards the friendly skeleton with wide eyes of shock, much to the confusion of everyone around them, wondering why they reacted to the sentence so strongly. A tiny flower? Alphys stammered fearfully. Before anyone could react, multiple thick green vines burst out from the ground and proceeded to constrict each and every one of them. Trying with all their might, none of them could free themselves from the vines. Soon, Flowey emerged from the ground with a smug look on his face. You idiots. While you guys were having your little powwow, I took the human souls. And now, not only are those under my power, but all of your friends' souls are gonna be mine, too. He. And you know what the best part is? It's all your fault, Flowey cackled. What are you talking about? Asked Naruto, reprimanding himself for having let his guard down after what happened the first time when they had fought Ascari. It's all because you made them love you. All the time you spent listening to them, encouraging them, caring about them. Without that, they wouldn't have come here. And now, with their souls and the humans together, I will achieve my real form. He. Why are you doing this? Asked Frisk. Why am I still doing this? Don't you get it? This is all just a game. If you leave the underground satisfied, you'll win the game. If you win, you won't want to play with me anymore. And what would I do then? But this game between us will never end. I'll hold victory in front of you, just within your reach, and then tear it away just before you grasp it. Over, and over, and over. He. Listen. If you do defeat me, I'll give you your happy ending. I'll bring your friends back. I'll destroy the barrier. Everyone will finally be satisfied. But that won't happen. I'll keep you here no matter what. Flowey then made his friendliness pellets around the children and wolf pup, making the monsters realize in horror what is about to happen, with the flower sneering. Even if it means killing you 1,000,000 times. Flowey cackled madly as he launched waves upon waves of pellets, damaging the souls each time, with the monsters struggling to break free but to no avail. Stop it, stop hurting them. Red cried out amidst her struggles, but was ignored as Flowey continued to attack. He launched one last wave to finish them off when a ring of fireballs suddenly appeared around them and blocked the incoming pellets, much to the flower's confusion. What? Flowey frowned at what just happened. Toriel spoke up with a pained smile. Do not be afraid, my child. No matter what happens, we will always be there to protect you. Flowey scoffed at this and attacked again, only to be blocked by walls of blue energy spears, large bladed gears and bones. That's right, humans, and not annoying dog. You can win. Just do what I would do, believe in you. Papyrus declared with an encouraging smile. Undyne added with a wide grin, hey. If you got past me, you can do anything. So don't worry. We're with you all the way. We won't let you hurt them any more than you already have, you stupid weed. I'm gonna protect my friends, said Red, whilst glaring at Flowey. Huh? You haven't beaten this guy yet? Come on, this weirdo's got nothing on you, said Sans with a wink. Flowey attacked yet again and was once more obstructed by walls of fire and lightning bolts, frustrating him further as Naruto and the others continued to recover from the attacks. Technically, it's impossible for you to beat him but somehow, I know you can do it. Alfie spoke confidently. Human, for the future of humans and monsters. You have to stay determined. Askari spoke up in encouragement. Soon after, many monsters whom they had met throughout their journey appeared and began to cheer them on in support against a flabbergasted Flowey. Shiren sang, la 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 la. Vulcan steamed, we're with you too. Monster Kid nodded eagerly, come on, you guys got this. Muffet smiled, mostly at Naruto, you've got to win. One of the royal guards clanged his sword against his armor, you can do it. Frogget hopped up and down in place, ribbit. You guys, you came all this way for us. Naruto rose to his feet as his and Frisk's souls pulsed strongly and recovered back to their full strength with Naruto's left eye and Frisk's body radiating the white aura of determination. Thank you. We're really thankful for being our friends, said Frisk gratefully. Ergano. Unbelievable. This can't be happening. You. Flowey looked around in shock before smiling madly. I can't believe you're all so stupid. Naruto's eyes widened at the sentence and realized what was about to happen. Everyone, you need to run away now, but the warning came too late as Flowey called upon the 6 human souls around him. All of your souls are mine. Flowey laughed insanely as everywhere turned white, forcing Naruto and Frisk to close their eyes. Nikken let out a yelp before leaping into the former's arms to avoid getting blinded as well. The trio slowly opened their eyes and cautiously looked around to find standing in a void of complete darkness with no sign of light whatsoever, just like when they faced Photoshop Flowey. This is just like before, except it's worse this time, said Frisk worriedly. I know, stay sharp and keep an eye out for Flowey, said Naruto, already unsheathing his Bakken with his left eye still glowing with determination. Finally, I was so tired of being a flower, a voice spoke up through. They recognized it to be the one that called on Frisk's phone back in the true lab. They turned around only to be shocked upon who was standing before. The shock was understandable considering the fact that the person standing before them was supposed to be dead, but here he was, never changed a bit in appearance. Asriel Dreamer, the son of Askari and Toriel. So this whole time, Flowey was actually Asriel? Asked Naruto in shock. How is it possible? Frisk couldn't make sense of it either. Asriel moved his arms around a bit before turning to the children but mostly focused on Frisk. Howdy. Chara. It's me, your best friend. Frisk blinked in confusion. Chara? But I'm not Chara. There was a flash of light, revealing that Asriel had transformed into an older version of himself, wearing a dark robe similar to what Toriel wears, a locket around his neck which is like the one Frisk is wearing, and let's not forget that he's currently hovering in the air and their souls practically leapt out of their chest to signal a battle with no questions asked. Naruto immediately used check to learn more about Asriel, but he wasn't liking what the information was telling him. Asriel Dreamer. Legendary being made of every soul in the underground. The absolute god of hyperdeath. Asriel snapped his fingers, conjuring multiple fireballs before remotely controlling them to attack the children and wolf pup from different angles. Frisk quickly moved her hands forward and channeled her determination to create a red circular energy shield to block, whilst Naruto did the same but stylized his shield to resemble that of a ballistic shield that SWAT teams normally use, with Nikken taking cover behind it until the attack stopped. He also uses fire magic? Asked Frisk. Not surprising, considering who his parents are, Naruto replied. Asriel looked down at them in amusement. Naruto and Frisk's souls pulsed as if warning them of a powerful incoming attack. Sure enough, Asriel initiated his star-blazing attack, calling forth large star-shaped projectiles to descend towards them like a hailstorm in rapid succession as each one detonated into expanding rings of smaller projectiles, with Naruto and Frisk maneuvering around them to avoid getting until a much larger star detonated directly above them with a larger amount compared to the smaller ones, with the children having to block them with their shields. You know, I don't care about destroying this world anymore. Asriel snapped his fingers as he used Shocker Breaker, calling down bolts of lightning. From above, Naruto and the others instinctively sensed where the bolts were about to strike and darted out of the way, even more so when larger bolts swept through the field. The hairs on the back of Naruto's neck raised, he spun around and raised his Bakken enhanced with his determination in time to block an attack from Asriel's chaos sabers. The godly monster pushed him and proceeded to slash at him rapidly with the blades while Naruto utilized his storm form to parry the attacks as well as evading them with dodge rolls and somersaults. Asriel clanged his sabers together to create sparks to attack but Naruto deflected them before they could hit. After I defeat you and gain total control over the timeline I just want to reset everything. Asriel snapped his fingers again to use the chakra breaker, all your progress everyone's memories. I'll bring them all back to zero. Then we can do everything all over again. Again, the children and wolf pup took evasive action to avoid being struck by the lightning bolts raising the battlefield around them. Asriel relentlessly followed up with star blazing. Frisk came up with an idea as she brought out her phone, switching it to shooting mode with her soul changing colors to yellow and fired at the descending stars to forcefully detonate them earlier. Naruto followed suit by bringing out the empty gun and helping her shoot down the falling stars before the largest one began falling towards them. Let's shoot it together, said Naruto urgently, recharging the gun with his determination before taking aim. Frisk nodded in affirmation. Okay. They fired at the large star and were successful in detonating the star and avoided the expanding rings of miniature stars. And you know what the best part of all this is? You'll do it. Asriel attacked Frisk with his chaos sabers, she darted in and out of the range of his incoming strikes with her determination enhancing her physical capabilities, and then you'll lose to me again, and again, and again. Asriel now summoned a blaster before him to use his chaos buster, rapidly firing spread shots of magic bullets which Naruto and Frisk quickly formed their shields of determination to block them. The blaster began to shake violently before the muzzle suddenly widened to fire a charged laser beam, shattering their shields and inflicting great damage on both of them. We can't give up here, not when everyone is counting on us, Naruto groaned out, rising back to his feet, tightening the grip on his Bakken. Why yes, we need to help our friends, said Frisk, getting to her feet as well. Arf. Nikken shook his head and stood next to them to help, the marking on the forehead beginning to glow white with determination. Within their minds, the words hope appeared and felt their bodies heal a bit of the damage, enabling them to continue battling Asriel who appeared to be amused that they were still resisting him. Isn't this delicious? Your determination, the power that let you get this far, it's gonna be your downfall. Asriel attacked once more, using a combination of Galactica Blazing, Chaos Slicer, Chaos Blaster, and a more powerful version of the Chakra Breaker. However, Naruto, Frisk and Nikken refused to give in, continuing to hold on to their hope and remaining determined to stop Asriel and his ideals. Now, enough messing around. It's time to purge this timeline once and for all. Asriel raised his hands above his head and disappeared before them. In his place appeared a large creature which Naruto noticed resembling the DT extraction machine in the True Lab. The creature cackled madly before opening its mouth to create a vortex which was pulling them in along with diamond-shaped projectiles. Naruto stabbed his Bakken to the ground and held on with Frisk and Nikken grabbing hold of him while she formed a domed shield around them to guard against the projectiles until the creature disappeared and Asriel appeared before them again. Even after I used the Hyper Goner, you're still standing in my way. Wow, you really are something special. But don't get cocky. Up until now, I've only been using a fraction of my real power. Let's see what good your determination is against this. He wasn't being serious before, asked Frisk. I had a feeling that was case, said Naruto, pulling out his Bakken and holding it to the side. Nikken whined mildly in concern about all this. There was a bright flash of light which dissipated to reveal that Asriel had transformed yet again. This time he was about the size of a giant with a pair of large which were constantly changing color, detached floating arms, a core with a heart marking and his lower body was shaped like an arrow. Naruto recalled something disturbing as he looked at the monster. However, there is a prophecy. The angel, the one who has seen the surface, they will return and the underground will go empty. Oh Kami, the prophecy was talking about this the whole time, thought Naruto in horror. Asriel laughed loudly in triumph, Yura haha, behold my true power. He spread out his arms as a barrage of energy-based comet projectiles launched from his fingertips in massive waves. The children and wolf pup made to defend themselves but soon discovered that they couldn't move their bodies, leaving them defenseless and were damaged to the point of no recovery and their souls shattered into pieces. But they refused. Their souls repaired themselves as they revived but were still unable to move their bodies. "I still can't move," said Frisk amidst struggles. "I'm trying but it's like my body isn't listening to me," Naruto grunted in response. Asriel sneered at them, "I can feel it every time you die, your grip on this world slips away. Every time you die, your friends forget you a little more. Your life will end here, in a world where no one remembers you." He blasted them once more with his magic comets, killing them but they revived once more with their souls restored, amusing him even more. "Still you're hanging on. That's fine. In a few moments, you'll forget everything, too. That attitude will serve you well in your next life." "We won't forget," Frisk muttered out but was killed once more by the comets with Naruto and Nikken before they revived yet again. "Yura haha still. Come on, show me what good your determination is now." Naruto grunted out, "Can't move, need to access the save file." He called for the option but nothing happened. "What?" He tried again but still couldn't access. "No way, I can't use the save file, this can't be the end." "Naruto, what if we use what's left to save everyone else?" Frisk muttered. Naruto's widened at the implication before narrowing in focus. "You're right, we reloaded to make sure that no one dies this time and we're gonna do just that." Their souls strongly in response to their as the memories of everything they had gone through and the friends they bonded with flowed through their minds. Asriel frowned seeing the expressions of despair disappear from their faces and were replaced with courage. "Huh? What are you planning on doing?" The children closed their eyes and focused. "They're in there somewhere, aren't they?" Suddenly within the depths of Asriel's soul, something's resonating. Their souls left their bodies and went into Asriel's core with Nikken watching on. Within the void, the souls glowed for a moment before taking ethereal forms of Naruto and Frisk as they looked around and felt their bodies tugging in certain directions. "Let's go look for them," said Naruto. Frisk nodded in affirmation. "Right." They split, letting their souls pull towards where they felt the resonance. Naruto came across a lost soul but a closer look reveals that it was actually Undyne. Judging by the clothes due to her face being obscured with white mosaic, he made to approach when she suddenly conjured an energy spear and took an aggressive stance against him. "All humans will die," she declared. "She doesn't recognize me," said Naruto, then recalled what Asriel said before, "Then I'll just have to help her remember." He felt a familiar weight in his hand and looked down to see an energy construct of his Bakken which he held in his gale form. Undyne summoned several energy spears around her before launching them towards Naruto. He was familiar with her fighting style and deflected each and every one of them without any effort. "Come on, Undyne-san, let me see the same passion you had when we were cooking spaghetti and meatballs together." This left a sense of familiarity on her but she shrugged off. "You are our real enemy," Undyne accused as she stabbed at Naruto with her spear while he constantly parries them. "If I am your enemy, then let's put it to the test." Naruto deflected a move before swiftly closing in and lightly tapping her knee with a fist. Undyne felt even stronger feelings of familiarity from what he just did. This caused all of her memories to come flooding back with the mosaic disappearing from her as she grinned fondly at Naruto. "Well, some humans are okay, I guess." Naruto smiled in response. "Glad to hear that, I'm going to find the others." "Go and show 'em what for, punk." Undyne saw him off with a thumbs up before floating away. Meanwhile, Frisk had come across the lost soul of Alphys and was trying to help her remember. "You hate me, don't you?" asked Alphys in depression. Frisk shook her head. "I don't hate you, Alphys. You're a nice monster who loves anime like Mew Mew Kissy Cutie. You still haven't told me more about it." The royal scientist looked like she was about to give a lecture but barely held herself back and sighed sadly. "I've got to keep lying." She deployed several mini-metatons to attack Frisk. She instinctively created an energy construct of her phone and shot them all down before they could attack. "You don't have to lie anymore, we all accept you and your flaws because you're our friend," Frisk called Alphys' phone, making her bring out her own to answer it. This caused her memories to come rushing back to her and her being visible. "You're right, my friends like me. And I like you too, said Alphys, her memories restored. Frisk nodded happily, and it's the absolute truth, I'm going to find the others. Please be careful. I will. Back with Naruto, he was searching for a lost soul when he found one of Red, who drew out her saber and pointed it at him. I will destroy all humans, said Red, lunging at him with a stab which he quickly parried to the side before moving away with her pursuing after him and rapidly slashing. You don't want to fight me, Red-chan, you admitted that forcing yourself to hate someone totally sucks, said Naruto. Red stepped back as she found those words to be rather familiar for some reason before snapping back into focus. Humans must be hunted, you will fall by my blade. Red summoned her bladed gears and launched them at Naruto. He managed to evade them without getting hit before parrying a move from his left by Red, who was attempting to flank him. Come on, Red-chan. There's no point in us fighting, we could simply have lunch together and talk about anime with Undyne and Alphys. I'm sure you'd love to do that, said Naruto. Red paused at this as a memory of Naruto and her sat together while sharing a burger and a drink together, then the other memories came rushing back to her with the mosaic disappearing and allowing her face to be seen. No. I don't want to hunt you, you're my first human friend, said Red, looking horrified at the thought of it. Glad to see that you're okay now, Red-chan. I'm going to find the rest, said Naruto with a smile. Red nodded in affirmation, go get 'em, bucko. We're counting on you. Frisk felt a bit peeved for some unknown reason but had to snap back into focus as she's currently dealing with the hostile nature of the lost souls of Sans and Papyrus, which she found rather saddening considering how kind they actually are. I must capture a human. Papyrus declared. Just give up, I did, said Sans in a monotone voice. Frisk was avoiding the incoming bones by leaping over them due to her soul having changed color to blue and is in jumping mode, but she also had to watch out for the blue bones, remaining still for them to phase through her without suffering any form of damage. You don't have to hunt humans, Papyrus. We could do nicer things like solving puzzles and cooking spaghetti. I'm sure Naruto's mom can teach us many recipes when we meet her, said Frisk. Hearing this caused Papyrus to pause as a memory of him setting puzzles for Frisk and Naruto to solve, and the time he had a playdate and solidified his friendship with Frisk as well as Naruto later on. Frisk then turned to Sans, hey Sans, why did the skeleton cry his eyes out? Because he didn't have any body to love. The joke made Sans snort in amusement while Papyrus appeared to be aggravated due to the sense of familiarity from it. This caused their memories to return to them and the mosaics disappearing from their faces. No wait. You're my friend. I don't want to capture you, said Papyrus in protest. Nah, I'm rooting for you kids, said Sans with a wink. Frisk smiled in response, glad to see you're both okay, but I need to rescue the others. Don't let us you keep here, go forth my heroic human friend, said Papyrus proudly. And try not to get bone-crushingly defeated, said Sans playfully. Sayaniness, the Skeel Bro groaned in annoyance. Frisk floated through the void and soon reunited with Naruto as they went in the same direction. Are you okay, Frisk-chan? Asked Naruto with concern. Yes, I was able to rescue Alphys, Sans and Papyrus, said Frisk. Same here with Undyne and Red-chan, guess the remaining ones are Toriel Obasin and Askari. Right, let's look for them. The children soon found the lost souls of the two aforementioned monsters who silently stood there before them. This is for your own good, said Toriel. Forgive me for this, said Askari sadly. Both of them proceeded to attack with waves of fireballs at the duo, who quickly created shields to defend against the fiery projectiles. Toriel, you have to remember us. Remember when you asked whether we prefer cinnamon or butterscotch because you wanted to surprise us with a pie? Asked Frisk, trying to make her remember. Naruto then called out to the king, Askari, think back to when we told you that we didn't want to fight no matter what because you weren't our enemy. Hearing this made Askari feel like he heard something like this before. However, it wasn't enough as they proceeded to attack once again. No one will leave again, said Toriel. This is my duty, said Askari. We need to try harder to make them remember us, said Naruto while defending with his shield. But how? It's like they're not listening to us, said Frisk from behind her own shield. Naruto closed his eyes in thought for a moment before speaking, get closer to them and do what I do. Okay. They proceeded to approach Askari and Toriel, all the while blocking their fire magic with their shields and taking evasive action when they attempt to trap them with rings of flames. Once close enough, Naruto dropped the shield and lunged at Askari to embrace him, much to the monster's surprise. Frisk saw what he did and immediately followed suit by hugging Toriel as well. Askari, you don't have to bear this pain alone, said Naruto. Even though you told us not to return, we were still going to come back to you once we found a way out. To make your dream of being a teacher come true, said Frisk. They were gently pulled back for them to see the smiling faces of Toriel and Askari, meaning that their memories had returned just like the others. Your fate is up to you now, said Toriel warmly. You are our future, said Askari with a fatherly smile, making the children smile back at them. Naruto and Frisk's souls emerged from Asriel's core and returned to their bodies, which in turn enabled them to be able to move their bodies unlike before. Nikken barked happily to see that they've returned safely. I think that's everyone, we helped get their memories back, said Naruto, looking relieved. Yes, but, Frisk looked back with a small frown, but it feels like we have missed someone who needs to be saved, I can feel it in my soul. Naruto frowned before looking at his soul, which was also pulsing in resonance with something. You're right, but who? It only took a few moments before he realized who it was that needs to be saved, Asriel. No sooner he mentioned the name that their souls pulsed very strongly and they began to see memories not belonging to them. They saw the young Asriel exploring the ruins and came across a young human child who had fallen into the underground like they did. Asriel took the child to his parents, whom they later took them in and cared as they were their own. Memories of happy times flowed through their minds before turning back to Asriel, who now appeared to be rather nervous. What's this feeling? What's happening to me? Asriel looked at his hands before shaking his head. No. No. I don't need anyone. He proceeded to launch another barrage of magic. Naruto and Frisk banded together with their determination to form a large shield to protect themselves and Nikken against the incoming projectiles. Let us help you, Asriel, Naruto called out to the now distressed monster. Asriel refuted the aid. Stop it. Get away from me. Do you hear me? I'll tear you apart. He attacked again with his magic comets, but they appeared to be less unlike the earlier barrage. Please, don't block us out, Frisk pleaded. Chara, do you know why I'm doing this? Why I keep fighting to keep you around? At this point, Asriel was using his fire magic, but none of them are anywhere close to hitting them. This is like when Toriel Obasan tried to force us to fight her, thought Naruto. I'm doing this because you're special. You're the only one that understands me, the only one who's any fun to play with anymore. Asriel, Frisk muttered softly. No, that's not just it. I'm doing this because I care about you, Chara. I care about you more than anybody else. I'm not ready for this to end, I'm not ready for you to leave, I'm not ready to say goodbye to someone like you again. Man, just how much have you suffered this whole time? Naruto stared at the distressed monster with sympathy. Asriel, Toriel, Askari, and the other monsters suffered all because of the foolishness of humanity. So, please stop doing this. Asriel began gathering rainbow-colored energy in between his hands, and just let me win. He fired a massive beam which easily shattered the children's shield and was seriously hurting them and the wolf pup. Asriel, Naruto grunted out in spite of tears appearing on his clothes and that he was starting to bleed. Stop it. Please, let us save you, said Frisk, enduring the pain inflicted upon them. Stop it now. Don't block us out, you don't have to be alone. Asriel finally stopped the attack, and one could easily tell that he has lost the will to continue this fight. The longing to kill or reset the world has completely faded away. I'm so alone, Chara, I'm so afraid, Chara. There was a flash of light, before revealing Asriel having reverted back to his true form before Naruto and Frisk, crying tears of sadness and guilt. I'm so sorry, the young goat boy said as he sobbed, wiping the tears from his eyes and looking at the children, particularly Frisk. I always was a crybaby, wasn't I? Chara. Asriel, I'm not. Frisk tried to tell the truth. I know. You're not really Chara, are you? Asriel said with a sad smile, Chara has been gone for a long time, it's just that you look so much like her. He fidgeted a bit before speaking up again, what is your name? My name is Frisk, said Frisk softly. My name's Naruto Uzumaki, but you can simply call me Naruto. This little buddy of mine is Nikken, his name means, my friend. Naruto introduced himself and the wolf pup who braked in greeting, no longer feeling hostile towards the young prince. Frisk, Naruto, Nikken, those are very nice names, said Asriel politely. The trio smiled happily at that with Frisk being vocal about it, thanks. I haven't felt like this for a very long time. As a flower, I was soulless. I lacked the power to love other people. Naruto and Frisk frowned in understanding. Now they realized the reason he acted that way and had seemed so heartless during those times. However, with everyone's souls inside me, I not only have my own compassion back but I can feel every other monster's as well. They all care about each other so much. And they care about you too. I wish I could tell you how everyone feels about you, Papyrus sans Undine Alphistorial. You don't have to, we already know and feel the same way about them, said Frisk. Monster are weird. Naruto smirked at that. There's no denying that one. They all laughed a bit. Even though they barely know you, it feels like they all really love you, said Asriel, but then he started to look sad and regretful. What's the matter? Asked Frisk in concern. Frisk, Naruto, Nikken, I understand if you can't forgive me. I understand if you hate me. I acted so strange and horrible. I hurt you, I hurt so many people, friends, family, bystanders. There's no excuse for what I've done. Asriel bowed his head in guilt. The void was silent as no one said a word until someone broke the silence. Naruto. You really are your parents' kid, always putting others before yourselves. Quite bowing your head, Azzy, we forgive you, Naruto smiled. Asriel raised his head in shock. Why, you do? Frisk nodded in affirmation. Yes, we do. You aren't the first who's tried to take our souls ever since we fell here. If we could forgive them, then why can't we forgive you, especially when you weren't truly yourself? Nikken barked in agreement, his tail blurring from his happy wagging. You too, come on. You're gonna make me cry again, Asriel said, looking very teary-eyed. What's wrong with that? One doesn't cry only when they're sad, but also when they're so happy that they just can't contain their joy and their body shows it. Believe me, I'm a prime example. Naruto folded his arms at the back of his head with a grin that his dimples forced his eyes closed. Asriel tearfully smiled in response before turning serious. Besides, even if you do forgive me, I can't keep these souls inside. Of least I can do is return them. But first there's something I have to do. Frisk blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Right now, I can feel everyone's hearts beating as one. They're all burning with the same longing. With everyone's power, with everyone's determination, it's time for monsters to finally go free. Asriel closed his eyes and started floating up into the air as he called upon the power of both the 6 human souls and all of the monster souls from the underground within him. Naruto and the others took a few steps back due to feeling the power radiating from him. Then that's when they heard it, the sound of glass shattering into pieces before Asriel floated back down to the ground. What just happened? Asked Naruto. I destroyed the barrier, Asriel answered, stunning the children. The barrier's gone. Then that means, Frisk smiled brightly, we and the monsters can go to the surface. That's awesome, I can't wait to show you the others the cool stuff like cartoons, video games, food. I even get to introduce your parents to my mom. She and your mom will totally get along, said Naruto excitedly. None of them noticed that Asriel was frowning until he spoke. Naruto, Frisk, I have to go now. What do you mean? Without the power of everyone's souls I can't keep maintaining this form. In a little while I'll turn back into a flower. I'll stop being myself. I'll stop being able to feel love again. They were shocked into silence upon hearing what the young prince just said to them. Surely he was joking, right? So Frisk. It's best if you just forget about me, okay? Just go be with the people who love you. Tears began pouring out of Frisk's eyes. She didn't want to believe the things coming out of the goat boy's mouth. She walked over to Asriel and embraced him with Naruto following soon after. Even Nikan pressed his head against Asriel's leg and whined sadly. Haha, I don't want to let go, Asriel laughed sadly, hugging them back. We won't force you to, Frisk sniffled. Asriel laughed again, but he knew well that he can't hug them forever and so reluctantly broke away from the hug and stepped away from them. You two, you're going to do a great job, okay? No matter what you do. Everyone will be there for you, okay? Asriel started to walk away, unaware of the growing pain in Naruto and Frisk's hearts. Well, my time is running out. Goodbye. Asriel walked a bit more then stopped for a moment. By the way, Frisk, take care of mom and dad for me, okay? Logically, one should feel happy about the end result. The barrier is broken and the monsters are free to go to the surface. Neither human nor monster were killed throughout this whole thing, even making peace with Asriel. But who gives a DMN about logic? Naruto and Frisk ran over to Asriel and grabbed his arms, halting him. Asriel looked surprised by their actions. Naruto. Frisk. Why are you dash? We aren't done yet, we haven't saved everyone, said Naruto seriously. What do you mean? Asriel asked. I've already freed everyone's souls. Yes you have, but we haven't saved you, said Frisk. Asriel was stunned, frozen by what he just heard from Frisk. They wished to help him in spite of everything he had done and they had just met properly for like a few minutes. You're asking us to simply forget about you, how can you even say something like that? Seeing who you really are, we can't find it in ourselves to simply abandon you just like that. Asriel looked down sadly. I know you want me to go with you too, but I can't. Without a soul of my own, I'll turn back into an emotionless flower. It would break mom and dad's hearts if they saw me like that. Naruto hummed and thought then spoke. So you're saying that if you had a soul, then you'll come with us to see them? Asriel blinked in confusion. Huh? Yes I would. Then in that case, Naruto called upon his soul for it to appear from his body, then take a portion of my soul. What? Asriel was taken aback by this, even Frisk was shocked. You said that you're soulless, so take a bit of mine if it means that you can come as you are, Naruto explained. If that's true, take some of mine too. Frisk also offered her soul without hesitation. Nikan wanted to do the same but didn't know how. Asriel stared at both of them but shook his head. I can't if I do that then. We're not gonna take no for an answer, do it or we force you to, said Naruto sternly. But dash. But nothing. Frisk for once was actually annoyed. Everything that led to all this wasn't your fault, you don't deserve to suffer for this. Humans and monsters aren't different, instead of looking at what's different, we all need to look at what's the same. Naruto held out a hand to the Prince of Monsters. Come with us, let's get you home to the ones who love you very much. Please Asriel. Frisk held out hers too. I. Asriel teared up, slowly reaching out to their hands, then he pushed them away much to their shock. I'm sorry. After pushing them away, Asriel disappeared in a white flash of light. They scrambled back to their feet and looked around for the goat boy whilst calling out his name. Asriel? Asriel? Where are you? Naruto called out. Please come back, Asriel. Frisk looked sad as she called out to him and Nikan howled with none being aware that a large light was engulfing them until it was too late. Naruto. Frisk, a voice shouted through the darkness, this is just a bad dream. Please, wake up. Ugh, Naruto groaned out, feeling a bit sore all over his body. He slowly woke up to see that he and a waking Frisk and Nikan were surrounded by their friends, Toriel, Askari, Sans, Papyrus, Undyne, Alphys and Red. Huh? Everyone, Frisk muttered, rubbing her eyes. Toriel let out a breath of relief. Oh, you're all awake. Thank goodness. We were so worried. It felt like you were out forever, said Alphys worriedly. Yeah. Any longer and I would have started freaking out, said Undyne. Then she glared at them. Tell us the next time you decide to take a nap, okay? We were really worried when we tried to make you wake up and you weren't responding, said Red, looking rather teary-eyed. She's right, you know. You made Papyrus cry like a baby, said Sans. What? I didn't cry. Papyrus yelled in protest, I don't cry. I just caught something in my eyes. What did you catch? Tears. Papyrus started to cry. Naruto chuckled, sorry for worrying everyone, didn't mean for that to happen. He felt Frisk tap his shoulder, what is it? He's not here, said Frisk, making him realize who she was talking about. Everyone calm down, what matters is that they're all okay now. Askari approached the children and gave them 2 cups of yellow flower tea, here, drink some tea. It will help you feel better. They gratefully took the cups and drank the tea, feeling the soothing flavor ease their minds and bodies. Thanks Askari, we do feel a lot better, said Frisk thankfully. Naruto, we do not remember exactly what happened. There was a flower, then everything went white but now the barrier is completely gone, Toriel explained. So Asriel did break the barrier like he said he did, thought Frisk. When you both ready, we will all return to the surface. It seems the door to the east will lead us back there, said Toriel. Before then, why don't you take a walk back? You can say goodbye to all of your wonderful friends. Naruto listened to what she said then realized something, Asriel might still be here in the underground, just need to look for him. He rose to his feet and nodded in agreement, yeah, we could go and check on everyone. Toriel nodded, do as you wish, we will all wait for you here. Alright then, we'll be back soon. Let's go Frisk, said Naruto. Okay Naruto, Frisk nodded. In affirmation with Nikken ever ready to follow them. Meanwhile, in a flower patch at the ruins where Naruto, Frisk and Nikken had fallen into the underground. Asriel knelt amongst the flowers and was crying to himself. I did the right thing, they don't have to waste their souls on someone like me. I deserve to be punished for putting everyone's lives in danger. Mom and Dad deserves Naruto and Frisk more than Chara and I. Asriel continued to cry in guilt and resignation when he felt a presence inside, thinking it was Naruto and the others who had come looking to bring him back to everyone. Naruto, Frisk. If it's you two, please leave me alone, Asriel sighed, sensing the presence not complying with his request and got up to face them. I already said that I can't go BA, he trailed off upon seeing that it was not who he thought it was but rather something else. It was a soul, a light blue human soul which was floating before him, and it wasn't alone, the other human souls were accompanying it. The human souls. Why are you all here? Asked Asriel, feeling a bit confused and afraid considering what he did with them at first before shattering the barrier. Are you the one who used our power? A male voice from the orange soul asked. Asriel blinked in shock. Why, you can talk. Of course we can, just didn't find the moment to do so. Now I believe he asked you a question, a male voice from the green soul. Yes, I was the one who used your power, Asriel admitted, waiting to be judged by the souls themselves. I see, so y'all the monster that used us to rampage all over the place, but broke the barrier in the end, a feminine voice with a cowboy accent from the yellow soul queried. Yes, are you going to punish me for using your powers that way? Asked Asriel. Goodness no, we're not here to punish but to help you instead, a female voice from the light blue soul spoke. Yeah, who would want to punish a little cutie like you? You have no idea how much I want to rub your fur, said the blue soul in a feminine voice. Enough of the girly squealing, we need to get down to business, said orange soul with a serious male voice. But I don't understand, why? Asked Asriel confusedly. Allow me to explain, the purple soul spoke with a male voice. Logically, we should have left for the afterlife when the barrier had been broken. But we sensed 2 powerful forces radiating determination which surpassed that of ours when we were alive. We sensed their desires not only to survive but to also protect. Let's not forget that they were in possession of our belongings, which allowed us to see and hear everything they did throughout their journey, even when they had reloaded their save file, said the orange soul. You mean Naruto and Frisk had all of your belongings when you were alive? Asked Asriel. That's right, the 2 kids who made it further than any of us ever did, said the yellow soul. The wolf puppy was so cute too, always ready to help them along the way, said the blue soul happily. It was thanks to him that some of our items were found, said the green soul. Indeed, but I must say that those two surprised me. In spite of everything that they've gone through with us witnessing it, they bore no grudge against monsters but rather wished to help them, especially you, to the point of offering their own souls, said the purple soul. Extending kindness when others wouldn't do so, said the green soul. Willing to keep going no matter what got in their way, said the orange soul. Strongly desiring to keep the promises which they had made with others, even reloading to do just that, said the blue soul. Having the patience to wait for the right opportunity instead of rushing and missing important things, said the light blue soul. Possessing a strong sense of right and wrong to make the right judgment, said the yellow soul. Asriel was surprised to hear the souls speak of Naruto and Frisk that way. Then you know why I couldn't take their souls, they need them more than me. And yet those two, including the puppy, care about you just as much. We know everything about you as well and find what happened to you to be very unfair when you didn't do anything wrong at all, said the blue soul. She's right, partner, there wasn't any justice in what the humans did to you, said the yellow soul. We also wish to repay the kindness Toriel gave to us, said the light blue soul. My mom? Asked Asriel confusedly. She showed us true kindness, far more than what any human had shown us. She always had this sadness which she thought she hid well from us, but we could tell and now know the reason she misses you badly, said the blue soul. But my dad, Asriel muttered. The orange soul spoke. Askari may have given the order, but he wasn't the one who killed us. Like we said before, Naruto and Frisk were the ones who made it all the way to him, our souls were simply collected. And the reason we aren't upset with him is because the time spent in those containers, we always saw the look of guilt and regret on his face. He was always muttering sorry whenever he was near us, said the green soul. Without a doubt, he misses you and Toriel terribly, said the blue soul in sympathy. It's all my fault, if only I hadn't agreed with Chara's plan in the place. I wouldn't have gotten killed, Dad wouldn't have given that order to kill humans and Mom wouldn't have left Dad, said Asriel, blaming himself. You mustn't blame yourself when it isn't entirely your fault, but rather the fault of humanity, said the purple soul. To at least make up for it, we're going to help you, said the light blue soul. Asriel blinked in mild curiosity, but how? Each of us are going to give you a bit of our power, which would be enough to create a soul of your own, the orange soul explained. But is that possible? We don't exactly know since we're trying this for the first time, but since the human soul is more powerful than monster souls, the chances are at least higher than 50% and you may gain a powerful soul, the purple soul theorized. We want to help you, Asriel, but only if you're willing to accept it. So what is your choice? Asked the green soul. I suggest you take it, a voice spoke up, making everyone turn around to see Naruto as well as Frisk and Nikken. Naruto, Frisk, Nikken. You're here, said Asriel in shock. It took some time, but we were able to figure where you were and came here to find you, said Frisk. Also, we heard everything. The souls are providing you with a chance to be whole again, it's even better than what we tried to offer to you. Please Asriel, don't push this chance away. Take it and come with us, everyone's waiting for you, Frisk pleaded. Nikken whined softly in agreement. I, Asriel stuttered, not knowing what to say. Come on, say it. Tell us what you want from the bottom of your heart. Naruto shouted. Asriel's shoulders shook before he started crying a fountain of tears as he yelled out his answer, I want to live again. I don't want to be a flower anymore. I don't want kill again. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I want to be with Mom and Dad again. Everyone smiled with the yellow soul speaking up, now that's what we want to hear from ya. The process will be a lot smoother with your willingness to accept our power, said the blue soul. Can we transfer our power too? Asked Frisk curiously. I encourage it, your powers could contribute to the creation of the soul, said the purple soul. But we must hurry and do so while Asriel is in this form. Before he turns back into a flower, said the green soul urgently. Naruto nodded in understanding, all right then, let's do it. Asriel sat on the ground with Naruto and Frisk doing the same in front of him while the souls surrounded the three of them in an orbiting fashion. "So are you ready?" asked the light blue soul gently. Asriel nodded in affirmation, yes. Alright then, Naruto's left eye glowed with a white aura and Frisk's body radiated a similar aura. "Take the essence of my patience," said the light blue soul, transferring a bit of her power into Asriel. "Take the essence of my bravery," said the orange soul. "Take the essence of my integrity," said the blue soul. "Take the essence of my perseverance," said the purple soul. "Take the essence of my kindness," said the green soul. "Take the essence of my justice," said the yellow soul. Naruto and Frisk placed their hands on Asriel's chest to transfer their power, and take the essence of our determination. "Breathe, breathe," Asriel began breathing heavily, the essences within him already having an effect on his body. "Hang in there Asriel, we almost got it," said Naruto, focusing intently on the process. "Oh okay," Asriel panted in response. Things were intense until there was a bright flash of light which died down to reveal the children having tumbled away from each other, huffing in mild exhaustion with Nikken scampering over to make that they're okay. "Are you all doing okay?" asked the green soul with concern. "I think so," Asriel responded before getting to his feet with Naruto and Frisk doing the same, but, did it work? "Maybe you should try calling it out," Frisk suggested. Asriel complied with her suggestion, calling upon his soul which emerged from within his body and surprised everybody with its appearance. The heart-shaped soul was shining brightly and possessing the iridescent colors of a rainbow. "This is my new soul?" asked Asriel, looking at his soul in awe. "Well, I'll be a monkey's auntie, that's quite the dandy new soul you got there," said the yellow soul. "Makes me kind of jealous that it's so colorful like that," said the blue soul. "With this new soul, you can go to the surface, make new friends, and be with your parents," said the green soul. "This is our gift to you, be sure to use the power we gave to you for good," said the orange soul. "I will, thank you all very much for giving me this chance to be with everyone," said Asriel, bowing his head to them. "Thanks very much for all this, we didn't want Asriel to live the rest of his life all alone here as a flower." "We're truly grateful," said Naruto. "We're the ones who should be thankful, was it not for the two of you, none of this would have happened and we would have been stuck in those containers for who knows how long," said Light Blue Soul. "I believe it's time for us to say goodbye and move on," said the Purple Soul. "Good luck to you all, and be sure to say hi to your parents for us," said the Blue Soul. "Thank you for everything," said Asriel. "You're welcome, just be the hopes and dreams for both humans and monsters out there," said the Green Soul. "We promise to not let any one of you down," said Naruto. "That's dandy to hear, see you later," said the Yellow Soul. The souls bade their farewell and proceeded to float up to the ceiling through where the hole was and flew out to the surface, towards the afterlife. "Are you ready to go Asriel?" asked Frisk. The Prince of Monsters nodded eagerly, "Yes, I really want to go see Mom and Dad again." "Glad to hear that, though a part of me wants to bonk you in the head for rejecting us before," said Naruto with a small frown at the end. Sorry," Asriel apologized. "Sigh, it's kinda hard to stay mad at you, so I'll let it go." There was a ping sound which came from Frisk's phone, making her take out of her pocket to look at the screen. "It's a message from Toriel, she's checking in on us." "Mom," Asriel muttered softly in longing. "Let her know that we're making our way back and we're bringing along a special friend with us to introduce to them," said Naruto with a smile. "Okay," she typed on the keypad for a bit before sending a reply back to the motherly monster, "It's been sent." "Alright then, let's go Asriel." Naruto held out a hand to Asriel with Frisk doing the same with smiles on their faces. Asriel looked at both of them before smiling back as he placed his hands in theirs and began their walk together back to the others. Toriel was still looking at her phone and humming in thought over the message that she had received from Frisk about their return, much to her relief, but she couldn't help being curious about this special friend whom they're bringing along to introduce to them, since she thought she had met the main ones and they're here with her, waiting for them to return. She was snapped out of her thoughts at the sound of footsteps and looked to see Frisk running into view with Nikken next to her. "Hello everyone," Frisk greeted happily. Toriel smiled in response, "Welcome back, my child. You took quite a while, my female human friend," said Papyrus happily. "Yeah, I was getting bone-tired," said Sans jokingly. Papyrus groaned at the pun. "Where've you been, punk?" asked Undine with a smirk. It's good to see you again," said Alphys, smiling nervously. "Hello again, where's Naruto?" asked Red, looking past Frisk in search of the other human besides her. "I am wondering about that as well, isn't he with you?" asked Askari curiously. "He's right behind me with our friend, he's a bit nervous about meeting you all," Frisk explained. "Well, he doesn't have to feel shy, we'd like to meet them," said Toriel kindly. Frisk stood to the side and gestured for them to look as Naruto walked in whilst gently pulling along a young monster into view, but it was their appearance which caused the breaths to hitch in their throats once they got a full view of the monster, especially Askari and Toriel. The king's eyes were wide in shock and disbelief, with the former queen covering her mouth with her hands. Naruto gently pushed Asriel forward, with the latter shyly calling out to them, "Howdy mom and dad." Asriel, Askari, and Toriel whispered his name, afraid that saying it out loud might make him disappear from them again. "Alphys, am I seeing things? Is that really the prince, alive before us?" asked Undine in shock. The royal scientist herself was in a similar state, trying to come up with how this could have happened but not successful so far. "Say Sans, who's that monster and why does he look like the child version of the king?" asked Papyrus confusedly. "I'm guessing he's their kid since he looks alike and called them mom and dad," Sans pointed out. "Oh, that makes sense now. Is it really you, son?" asked Askari, the hope in his voice is almost heart-wrenching. Asriel walked closer, then reached out to grab Askari and smiled tearfully, "Yes, it's really me. I'm back." The king knelt down and cupped Asriel's cheeks in his hands, feeling the fur, and began to cry, "It's really him, Tori. It truly is Asriel. Oh Asriel, my child." Toriel no longer hesitated and joined Askari in embracing Asriel as all three of them began to cry tears of joy at a reunion which they thought was impossible and would never happen, but it did, and they were none the happier for it. Frisk looked out to see that everyone were looking upon the reunited family. She glanced at Naruto and was surprised to see tears flowing down his cheeks. "Naruto, are you okay?" asked Frisk. "Yeah, I'm fine." Naruto wiped the tears from his eyes. "It's just that they reminded me of my own family, back when we were complete." "Oh, okay," Frisk didn't say any more, not wanting to prod on any sensitive subjects. "My child, as joyful as it is to be with you again, how is it that you were revived from death?" asked Toriel confusedly. "It's a bit of a long story, but Naruto and Frisk played a huge part in saving me," said Asriel, getting the parents to look at the children and wolf pup. "They did?" asked Askari. "Not entirely the both of us, the 6 human souls helped us in reviving Asriel, and both of them were responsible for shattering the barrier," said Naruto. Alphys was shocked to hear that, the prince and the human souls were the ones that shattered the barrier. Frisk nodded in affirmation, "Yes, and they wanted us to pass on a message of thanks to you both. In spite of everything, they chose to help us gain freedom and give our son back to us." "I can't thank them enough," said Toriel tearfully. "Guess it's a good thing you two punks showed up when you did, who knows how long we would have waited for something like this to happen." Undine ruffled the children's hair with a wide grin. "By the way, the name's Undine and I'm the leader of the Royal Guard." Hello, my name is Alphys and I'm the Royal Scientist," Alphys introduced herself nervously. "Greetings my dear prince, I am the great Papyrus and a future member of the Royal Guard." Papyrus introduced himself with pride before gesturing to Sans, "and this is my brother, be aware of his laziness and bone-related puns." "Easy there bro, no need to be so hot under the collarbone," Sans spoke. Papyrus groaned, "Sonness." He, Asriel giggled at the exchange between the skeleton brothers. "It is an honor to meet you, my prince. I am Red of the Royal Guard." Red bowed on one knee before Asriel, who waved his hands frantically. It's okay, there's no need to bow to me," said Asriel, waving his hands about. Askari chuckled fondly, "As modest as ever, you haven't changed a bit." "Why yeah," Asriel gulped nervously, he had discussed with Naruto and Frisk about not revealing everything for now, as things are already overwhelming enough as of now and will be told much later. "Hey everyone," Naruto called out, getting everyone's attention. "I think it's time for all of us to step out to the surface." "You go on ahead, my children," said Toriel, "we'll be right behind you." "I'll come too," said Asriel. Frisk gave a nod of understanding. "Okay, let's go." She took Asriel's hand and the three children began to walk through along the pathway and past where the barrier used to be before finally making it to the outside world. They walked over to the cliffside and stared at the setting sun. Askari, Toriel and the others came out of the tunnel and joined them in viewing the sun as well. "Oh my goodness," said Toriel in awe. "It is quite appealing, isn't it?" said Askari. "Amazing, it's even better than what I read from the books or watched on TV." Alphys was amazed by the scenery. "You punks live with this?" asked Undyne. "The rays of the sun feels good on my skin and the air smells so fresh." "I know, right? Makes me cherish it even more," said Naruto. "Say brother, what is that giant glowing ball?" asked a curious Papyrus. Sans answered, "It's called the sun, bro. Wowie, I can't believe that I'm finally meeting the sun. Amazing, is this really the surface?" "It truly is appealing," said Red, amazed by what she's seeing. Frisk heard sniffling and looked to see Asriel tearing up. "What's the matter, Asriel?" "It's just that I always hoped that I would see this with everyone. Now that it's happening, I feel so happy," said Asriel. Frisk smiled. "I'm happy for you, Asriel. This is just the start of many wonderful things to come." "Yeah, and we're gonna do it together," said Naruto with a foxy grin. Asriel smiled fondly, having the same feeling that he had with Chara, as if they're his siblings in all but BLD. "So what happens now?" asked Toriel. Askari hummed and thought before speaking up. "Everyone, this is the beginning of a bright new future, where humans and monsters can live together in peace. Which is why," he turned to Frisk and Naruto, "there's a request I'd like to make of the two of you." "What is it, Askari?" asked Naruto. "Will you act as ambassadors to the humans?" asked Askari. "Us as ambassadors?" asked Frisk in surprise. "Whoa, I never thought I'd become an ambassador before reaching university." "Anyhow, I'd happily be your ambassador," said Naruto with a smile. "Me too," Frisk nodded eagerly. "I'll help too, as the prince of the monsters. I want to help you and the monsters in any way I can," said Asriel. Papyrus cheered at the news. "Yeah. Frisk, Naruto, and Asriel will be the best prince and ambassadors. The great Papyrus will be the best mascot. I'll go and make a first impression." He took off down the pathway. "Papyrus, wait." Naruto called out, "He doesn't know the way to the city unless we guide him there." "Don't worry, punk, I'll go and get him." Undyne took off after the excitable skeleton. "You Undyne, wait for me." Alphys ran after Undyne as fast as her legs can carry her. "I'll go and assist Commander Undyne with Papyrus. I'll see you later," said Red before following suit. "I'll take a shortcut and meet you guys at the bottom," said Sans before walking in the opposite direction. Soon it was left with just Toriel, Frisk, Naruto, Nikken and Askari. The silence amongst them was rather awkward until Askari nervously broke the silence. Should I do something?" asked Askari. Toriel said nothing but rather leveled a glare at him. "Well, I gotta go." Askari ran off without another word. The children sighed at this. There's still a bit of a rift between. Asriel was hoping that his return would have at least repaired their relationship a bit, but it looks like there's still quite a long way to go. "Mom, I'm gonna catch up with Dad and left you two to talk," said Asriel. "Okay Asriel, we'll be with you soon," said Toriel. Asriel nodded before running off after his father, leaving just Naruto, Frisk, Toriel and Nikken alone. It appears that everyone is quite eager to set off. Toriel turned to the children. "Frisk, Naruto. Both of you came from this world, right? So you must have a place to return to, do you not? What will you do now?" Frisk hummed and thought for a moment before giving her answer. "I don't really have a place to return to. If it's okay, I would like to stay with you. Toriel was taken aback by her request. Oh my, Frisk, you're truly a funny child. If you had said this earlier, none of this would have happened. Frisk giggled. Then it was good thing we took so long before saying it. He, indeed it is. Well, I suppose if you really do not have any other place to go, I will do my best to take care of you, for as long as you need. All right? Frisk joyfully jumped into Toriel's arms and embraced her. Thank you, Mommy. The motherly monster smiled and hugged her back affectionately. Then they turned to Naruto, who had his phone out and was looking at something. What about you, Naruto? Asked Toriel. You already know my answer. I have a place to go to, someone who's waiting for me, said Naruto, gazing at the picture on his phone. Kushina sat on a couch in a darkened room, her skin being very pale, her hair a mess, clothes ruffled, and the entire house was in a bit of a mess. She hadn't stepped out of the house for quite some time, ever since her beloved son went missing. She did everything she could to find him, but to no avail. However, she refused to give up until she found him. Knock, knock, knock. She was snapped out of her reverie by the sound of knocking on her front door. She refused to answer it and waited for the person to go away, but the knocking persisted, much to her growing annoyance. She marched to the door and opened it with a look of irritation. Look, I don't know who you are, but anything else she was about to say was stopped as she looked at the person standing before him. Hi Mom, Naruto spoke nervously. Naruto, Kushina whispered out. Yes, it's M-. Naruto was suddenly scooped into Kushina's arms and hugged very tightly. He couldn't help but feel guilty as he listened to her sobbing into his hoodie jacket and hugged her back. I looked everywhere for you, Kushina spoke, albeit muffled due to her face still pressed into his jacket. I'm so sorry, I tried to get back to you as fast as I could. I'm so sorry for worrying you so much. Naruto could barely hold himself back from crying while he spoke. Just be quiet and let me hug you, but know that you're grounded for 2 months after this. I'll accept the punishment, plus it gives me the chance to tell you about what I've been through along with my friends. Friends? Kushina pulled away from Naruto and looked past him to see Frisk and the monsters with the girl waving shyly at her. Who or what are they? It's all part of the long story which I'm going to tell you while I'm grounded at home, said Naruto sheepishly. Can my friends and I get something to eat? It's been a while since I last ate and I really miss your cooking. Kushina looked at Naruto and the monsters several times for close to a minute before letting out a sigh and smiling softly. You might as well wait along with your friends for a bit. I need to put the house in a much more presentable state for guests before letting them in. Okay Mom, I won't be going anywhere, said Naruto. That's what I want to hear, but still, Kushina knelt down and took off Naruto's goggles before kissing his forehead. Welcome home, Naruto. Naruto smiled. I'm home. Naruto was currently in his room in the morning, writing on a diary with a thoughtful look on his face. He glanced to the side to see several picture frames on his desk which had been recently added to his family photo before resuming his writing. Dear Diary. It has been several months since the monsters were freed from Tiamat and integrated into the human society. Although Askari made us the ambassadors to help form a peaceful relationship with humanity, we aren't yet ready for the responsibility due to our age and lack of experience. Kushina was very angry with Askari when she learned what happened while we were in the underground, but I personally spoke to her and got her to understand the reason for that, but had her promise not to tell them the truth yet until the right time, although I made sure not to speak of the other thing I could do. Afterwards, she negotiated with Askari that he would stand in for us as ambassadors until we graduated from college, and she even called in a friend of the family to help out. There was a bit of a tension between the humans and monsters at first, but an agreement of non-violence with the mayor was the first step which made the citizens warm up to the monsters little by little. The monsters knew that they need to put in a lot of effort in order to appeal to them. They're making progress so far and I'm sure that they'll get along in the long run. I promised myself to make such a dream into a reality. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.